Alright. Well then, so if you want, I can just go immediately if you would like me to.
Yeah, give the countdown.
Yep, by all means, give me a countdown if you want.
No, you give the countdown.
Okay.
I can listen to it and start the timer.
Okay, so I will just begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So, hello people, this is Rocket Knight. You just saw Sparkster, and this is a 2010 reboot of the Rocket Knight series. If you just watch Sparkster, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff. We play as the same Opossum Rocket Knight Sparkster, and we use the same Rocket Boost mechanics. They work a little differently in this game though. In Sparkster, you need to manually charge the Rocket Boost as it's on the same key as attack, and then you need to release it by releasing the button when you want to use it. In this game, the Rocket Boost automatically charges up on its own, and you can also cancel the boost early, which you can't do in any other Rocket Knight game. So, not only does it charge up automatically, as I said in the other ones, but in all the other Rocket Knight games, you only have one boost at any time. In this game, you can charge up like a supply of boosts to use whenever you need. So there are certain spots where I'm going to have like 3 or 4 boosts in reserve to do specific tricks in specific sections. There's a cycle here which I can hopefully meet. That will certainly do. Thank you. Can I? No. Yeah, couldn't. I tried to get past those cycles, but nothing doing. As far as taking too much damage in this game goes, it's not much of a problem. The health that you have in this game is extremely generous, and the only reason that you generally want to avoid damage a lot of the time is that it's just, you know, slower to take damage. That you get recoil and it wastes time. But as far as having enough health to survive the run, that's not really a problem, thankfully. Unlike it is in Sparkster, where it's a massive threat to take too much damage at any given point. So coming up here, I'm going to try a little trick with boost cancelling, where there are these rails. I missed that. If I cancel a boost as I'm just over a rail, it drops me straight onto the rail and gives me a small speed boost. It isn't much, but it does make a difference. So here we have an example of where I'm moderating where I'm using my boosts, because I can't spam boosts as quickly as possible. They don't charge that fast, and I do want them in specific spots to deal specific tricks anyway. So a theme of this game as well is that at the end of certain stages you get these combat gauntlet sections where you just need to dispatch all the enemies. This is, as you'd imagine, just a matter of knowing where they spawn and then killing them as quickly as possible as they come on screen. So that's stage 1-1 done with, and we get to stage 1-2, which is largely an auto-scroller stage with not too much going on. So if at any point there are donations coming in, now is a good time to read them. If not, I can talk a little about how the auto-scroller stages work. As you would expect, given that this is auto-scroller, there isn't much you can do to actually speed up the sections. So generally, these sections are geared towards score attacking instead. Obviously, it doesn't really factor into a speedrun, but it's the only thing you can really do. As you can see in the top right, I do have a score counter, again, unlike the other, well, not unlike the other Rocket Knight games, but you really don't pay attention to the score in the other Rocket Knight games. And every time you destroy an enemy or pick up a collectible, it increases a multiplier. And then by, you know, collecting or destroying more stuff, you just try and keep that multiplier going. Again, like, it's not really relevant to the speedrun, but it's all that can really be commented on in sections like this. There are 3 stages like this throughout the run. There's this is stage 1-2, and then there's stage 2-1, and there's stage 4-1, I think? Yes, 4-1. So the game's divided into 4 main acts. Obviously, acts 1 through 4. Act 1 has 4 parts, Act 2 has 4 parts also, and then Acts 3 and 4 have 3 parts each. So Act 3 is gracefully the only one without any auto-scroller, and is generally the most action-packed segment of the game. It's definitely got the best stages in the game as well, I would wager. The first one is a little cycle-based and is kind of to try and go fast in, but the second level of Act 3, Cyberswine Labs, is, in my opinion, the best stage in the game for speedrunning, and you will definitely see why once we get there. Each of these auto-scroll segments as well is almost exactly 4 minutes long, So we're almost halfway through this one, and then throughout the rest of the run there's going to be 8 more minutes of auto-scroller. But aside from that, it's all either action stages or boss stages. So stage 1-3 coming up after this is another action stage, and it's one that we're not going to see too much of. I'm not going to spoil the surprise too much though, you can just see what I mean when we get there. Just continuing to, you know, accumulate resources. This is basically the point of the game where it resembles a Let's Play more than anything else, but there isn't too much I can do about that, sorry. If you were able to manually go faster in these stages at the cost of, you know, being easier to kill, in other words, if there was a risk-reward system to go faster, I would certainly do it. And I would put a lot of time into getting good at these stages to boot, because that would be pretty damn fun. But no such system exists. So this is also the only point in the game during these flying stages where I can use the laser attack that I've been liberally using so far. This is quite powerful during the flying stages, but I can't spam it nearly as fast as I'd want. It, as you can see in the energy bar in the top left, it uses a lot of energy. And if I try and spam it as quickly as I can charge it, I actually won't have enough energy to keep using it. So like the rocket boost, it's a matter of, again, I need to moderate where and when I need to use it. Coming fairly close to the end of this segment though. Oh man, the chaining strats! The multiplier, it's getting higher. It's almost exciting. Almost. Ah, broken multiplier. Well, all good things must come to an end and all that. One thing to note that's a little interesting as well, the couple of sections of the stage where you progress essentially to the next checkpoint of the stage from the camera zooming forward itself, if you are hard up against the right edge of the screen, I don't know what it is you take damage off, but you take damage off something and it bounces you backwards, and it also wastes a little bit of time. But I don't know what happens when that happens there. So we get our first boss fight, or mini boss fight of the game, Axel Gear. I want to get fairly close to this guy and hopefully see the energy sword attack. Not that one. I can't get as close as possible, otherwise he'll deflect me, but come on, use it. There we go. Once he's using this, now I can sit on top of him and spam the sword attack to deal a lot of damage very quickly. If I can get that one more time, please. He's almost dead anyway. Yeah, he's down. There we go. So that's just a spammy fight, and again, we're able to play that as recklessly as that because of all the health that we have in this game. You can see that my health bar is directly below my energy bar, and I didn't even lose half my health from just constantly trading hits with him like that. So damage management should never really be a... Oh, it's a TGH raid. Nice. I can pause during the loading screens. I shouldn't do that. Find me another game where you can pause during the loading screen. I dare you. I don't think you can do it. So here's stage 1-3, Zephyrian City. So one thing that was probably very apparent whilst I was running Sparkster is that the game didn't really have much in the way of glitches or skips. The game is just very movement oriented and momentum based, and it's very skill based. In this game though, if I can do it, we can do stuff like zip through walls, because this game has problems maybe? It's still a good game, but there are a couple of spots in this game where we use major level skips like that, which are very clearly not intended. I do not know why you can zip through that wall, what dictates it, how it's possible, but it works to great effect as it skips about half of the stage. So now we're going to try and exploit some rail physics. Alright. Yes, I didn't get the positioning wrong, but then I took damage. So, still kind of counts as getting it wrong. Oh, that's right as well. I completely forgot to mention so far that whilst I'm rocket boosting around, another slight difference from the rest of the Rocket Knight series in this game is that ricocheting with the rocket boost is actually very important. The rocket boost will go a fixed distance, but the distance that I will go will be incremented slightly every time I ricochet off a surface. Like, every ricochet I get increases the overall length of the boost slightly, which is very important in certain spots. There are a lot of spots that you'll see where, say for instance, it looks like I'm performing a upright boost, but what I'm actually doing is jumping and then immediately doing a downright boost into the floor, and then ricocheting off the floor and going upright, which results in me going a little further than normal, which is actually very important in quite a lot of spots. Like, it doesn't make much of a difference, but it makes enough of a difference to really matter. So now we have first main boss of the game, the Forest Shredder. This is also the first time that we get to see a form of dealing extra damage. So we have the rocket boost as, you know, our bread and butter attacking and movement technique, but by pressing the attack button twice whilst already performing a boost, we enter the drill rush state, which deals double damage to whatever we hit. This is also used in certain spots against trash mobs later in the run, but it's a bit selective where we can use it since it costs more fuel than usual to use. So that's the end of Act 1, and we come to the start of Act 2, which we start with the second auto-scroller stage of the run. No, I'm bad. It's 2-2 that's the auto-scroller, so we don't quite have that yet. 2-1 is the counter-attack. This is, like Cyberswine Labs, this is one of the most technical stages of the run, so I'm certainly going to give it my best shot, though this is quite tricky as a stage. Good, I didn't mess that up. I'm good, apparently, except not really. Important that I don't fall into this pit here, and then there's nothing I can do to avoid this cutscene playing here, which is a little obnoxious, but whatever. Where am I? There I am. Oh my god, get up there. Thank you. Oh my god, this game has tech. I gotta say, when I first saw this game, nice, I got that jump first try. That's one of the most difficult jumps in the game, in terms of how precise it is. When I first saw this game, I wasn't really drawn to speedrunning it too much because it didn't look too technical to me. But this is one of the games where the more you dig under the surface, the more you realise how complex it actually is. Like, this game does have a lot of technique hidden under the surface. With stuff like the allocation of ricochet shots like that and boost cancelling, there's actually a lot more depth to this game than it first seems. Especially considering, being that it has an in-game timer in the top centre that you can see, you can also do ILs, individual levels, which you can spend ages optimizing and trying to get good at. I still don't consider myself particularly good at ILs in this game, and the person who previously had the record before I came along at this game, like, the only reason I really even tried this game initially was that it had a Steam release. But the guy who ran this game before me ran it on Xbox XBLA version. That was the initial release of the game on XBLA. And honestly, as far as the fundamentals of the game go, that should have been a one-hit. Yeah, as far as like just the basic fundamentals of the game go, like movement and generally, you know, being good at playing the game, I don't mind saying that he far outstrips me. And I've recently reached out to him to try and get him to return to the game through his YouTube channel, because that's the only real way to get in touch with him anymore. It took him a while to respond, but he did eventually respond, saying that he may be interested in returning to the game at some point, particularly because when he did his runs, it was at a time where the 2 major level skips of the game hadn't been discovered. So I currently hold the world record in this game, but honestly it's only because his world record did not use the skips and mine, my run does use the skips. But the actual quality of play in my stages is less than his quality of play, if you know what I mean. And he even went as far as to say, like, that he took a look at my run and was like, yeah, I might have to return to this game now and optimize it with the new skips, because this run is very improvable, and he's honestly very right. So I honestly do hope to see him come back to running this game and see the damage that he can inflict on it. It will also force me to get good as well, so I may actually get a good time in this game if I have some competition. That's an open invitation to anyone else who's watching as well. If you want to pick up this game, feel free. I very much like having competition for games, and I think it's very healthy for speed games when there is an element of competition to push what would otherwise be the only runner or runners of the game to improve, because they keep trying to continually outdo each other. I've seen it happen in quite a lot of other games recently, and it's just the best thing that can happen for a game when it gets healthy competition. Otherwise, going through this stage, as with the other scroller stages we reached before, there is not too much really going on here or too much to comment on. as there's never really an element of danger whilst going through these stages, since, like I say, the health that you have is a lot. The final auto-scroller stage of the game, 4-1, can be kind of dangerous because the health pickups are fairly far and few between, and you fight a lot of enemies. So if there's an auto-scroller stage where I'll be in danger of dying at some point, it isn't that one. But in this one, the only thing off the top of my head that could realistically kill me is the very end object, which is a ship that we destroy with some explosive charges. If you're too close to the explosive charges, they just deal a lot of damage. And strangely enough, it doesn't even seem to be a static damage value, it just seems to more be that it will reduce you to half a heart of HP. Which, if you somehow manage to then take another hit as the level is ending, you just automatically die. But once I reach there, I'm going to make sure that I stay reasonably far away so that I don't get hit by it. And then we'll be moving into Stage 2-3, which is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting stages in the run. It has a unique mechanic which isn't seen anywhere else in the run, which I honestly wouldn't mind them making another level or two playing around with the mechanic, but I won't spoil it too much and I'll just explain it a bit more as we get there. Like, as you can see, I can just take damage a lot, but there's always just health pickups to support me. That feeling I've currently got QuickTime bugging me to update it. No, that's not what's happening right now. We don't do that. Alright, so after this last turret comes on screen, that is when we will start the last fight. The explosives are going to come out the bottom here, so I'm just going to stay decently far away to make sure I don't get hit. Alright, we're good. 407 is very average for that stage. There's not much time variance at all, so, you know. Alright, so 4-3. No, what? That's a bit premature. 2-3, as I mentioned before. Very unique mechanic in this stage. So this stage is frozen over, and it actually freezes our jetpack so that we no longer have infinite boost. So I'm going to have to periodically recharge the boost with these pickups that are just strewn through the level. Really? Not making that? Good stuff. So since I don't have unlimited boost, nice one, game. Since I don't have unlimited boost, I have to pick the spots where I'm using specific boosts very carefully. It also means that missing a boost at any point can be a significant loss. Really? Am I missing a cycle here? Get out of here. I mean, I've already missed a cycle in the first place, because the early part of this stage is very cycle-based, and you can just catch the earliest cycle if you play the entire start of the stage extremely well, and I didn't play it nearly well enough, unfortunately. But either way, we get to the second part of the stage. Just damage boost through these, because it makes absolutely no difference. That's okay. I actually got knocked out of that quickly, so it didn't cost much boost for that to happen. That's pretty dangerous to try those boost cancels, but it is by far the fastest way to progress, so... Oh, get away! This guy is blocking me. I literally can't get out. Alright. Oh, I have just enough health to damage boost now. Alright. I did not expect to have that little health remaining going in there, but it was fine. I just need to be a little careful on this combat section then with this remaining HP. So I'm deliberately not picking up this recharge capsule here, since I want to save it for when this section goes upwards. Since there's a couple of strats here, I can just miss that completely, that's fine. I didn't really need to wait for that. So one last section. I've got more than enough health to survive here. Not a particularly clean stage, but we come to the main stage 2 boss, the Wolf King. This is basically RNG the boss. The Wolf King is immune to all forms of damage that I can normally deal, like boosting, sword swiping, whatever. I can only deal damage to him with either his own attacks or using the environment against him, and his movement patterns, his movement patterns I can manipulate, but his attack patterns, which then further influence his movement patterns, are entirely random. What I want to see is a dynamite throw here. Nope, charge, that's bad. So now there's a second chance to get good RNG, which will be him moving over here to stand next to me. So of course he throws dynamite now, dickhead. And I can't even get that. So this is difficult to recover now. Can I get over him? Please move over here. What are you doing? Yeah, this game's good. Alright, good. So what you want to see happen is you want him to immediately stand on top of these panels, because then you can destroy them and it causes a lot of damage when it causes him to fall. Of course. Well, that works. He's dead after he undazes himself. So that wasted a lot of time, and there was simply nothing I could have done about it due to the RNG patterns. The fastest pattern you can get there is worth a 26, and I got a 58, so that simply wasted 32 seconds because I got the wrong RNG. The pattern that I wanted to see was immediate dynamite, which is good to see because he stands on top of the broken panel when he does it, and when you hit him with the dynamite there, he will always just stand in place and roar after you hit him, which gives you time to get over him and then destroy the block so that he drops down, and then from there you can get a consistent pattern where you can kite him up to the top and then get him to fall off the second one like I did in that fight there. Like, I knew that the same strat would still work from a different position, but it was a lot slower to set up there. So now that we're into Pig Bunker, we get our unthawed jetpack back, so sadly we don't have to actually care about where and how we're using our boost anymore. Please trigger that, thank you. But now we have to start worrying about triggering switches to progress. Ah, don't do that. Alright, I am going to miss a cycle here now. I think. Yeah, oh, wow, okay. I haven't done that in a while. Because I didn't use the hover. There, yeah. After you exit a rocket boost, if you hold the jump button, then you get this short little hover burst, which doesn't give you much height or distance, but it's the same thing as a ricochet extension where it's not much, but it can still really matter. So I'm going to have to wait for this next cycle now, because if I try to ascend this here, I just don't get enough height to go up the shaft there, as you can see. So I need to wait for this cycle to come up. Nice, wrong side. So that was cycles there, and this is also cycles. These steam vents that cause these platforms to go up and down, this is all global cycles. Oh, of course I missed that, which means I'm going to miss the next cycle because I missed that. Yep, that's the cycle I wanted to meet there. So, as you can see, this stage is just entirely cycle-based. I'm going to try a short skip here. Okay, by delaying this cutscene. Okay, good. I hit that through there. That's the wrong way. That door's locked. Right, so now that I hit that switch through the wall, I no longer have to do this extra puzzle section that's down to the left of me. I can just progress down and to the right. Please fall down. Thank you. Alright. Really? I'm gonna get this health pickup actually, because my health's dangerously low for this combat section. So this is where I'm gonna start exploiting drill rushing. You can see there that that enemy dies in 1 hit. A normal rocket boost would just kill the enemies in 2 hits. But if we use drill rushing properly, it kills them in 1. And we also need drill rushes to destroy these generators. The point of this section of the stage is that we need to destroy 3 generators in 3 different puzzle rooms. That first puzzle is just combat. This is switches, which we have a route for. That's wrong. And then the third one is primarily platforming based. Oh, thanks game. That's fine. Okay, good. And then there's simply one more enemy to dispatch over here. So what I did there was the neutral rocket boost attack. If you try a rocket boost but you're not holding a direction, instead of flying off, you simply stand in place and do that spiral hit, which is purely situational. It's only good in combat situations like there where I need to get multiple hits quickly. But now, the most fun stage in the game, in my opinion, Cyberswine Labs. This is an Ayala's dream. And I'm already messing it up. Please, game. Alright. I missed the triple, I'm bad. So there's quite a few like mini skips in this stage by using tricks like this. If I use fireballs to trip these switches, then I can skip some cycles, some alternate routes that I'm supposed to take. Oh, I forgot that I needed to use another drill rush at the top there. Thanks, game. And this is an example of where I was saying that I need to use diagonal ricochets to get extra distance. Can I get this skip? Okay, very nice. That's... I want to say that's sub-pixel based. I can't think of a better thing to call that, because that floor is not even, and most of the time when you go for that trick, it will reject you. You just won't get through there because the gap is actually too narrow to fit through. So I can't really think of anything to call it but sub-pixels. Right, I do not have very much health left at all, but we're going to reach a checkpoint here, and we're about to do a major level skip, so it's whatever. And I got through there perfectly anyway, very nice. So first we need to get these platforms to go back up, and now we're going to do another handy little out of bounds by utilising the buzzsaw attack again. So you can see that it already doesn't quite work as expected when you're on a moving platform. Ceilings don't entirely agree with it either. Okay. I have a very short timing window to get this jump while I'm out of bounds. There we go, second try. Not too bad. So now that we're out of bounds and on top of the stage, we simply go to the left and reach the end of the stage. If we didn't do this, there'd be a whole other extra section where we need to go further to the right, do tons of like puzzle and combat rooms and destroy a generator, and then do an escape sequence that leads us here. But instead we just dispense with all of that and get out. And now we have the main boss of Act 3, which is our counterpart knight, Axelgear, who is extremely random. This is another case of RNG the game. Used, there we go. That laser sword is what we want to see, because he stands in place when he uses that and lets you get a lot of free hits in. Dude, that was... He's being unnaturally passive, which I'm very grateful for. Come on, enter your next phase. There we go. So he also stands still here as well, letting us get a few free hits in. It looks like I'm not doing very well, but this is actually a very friendly pattern he's giving me. Alright. I'm not going to get to exploit that. Oh, yes, I am. So, I didn't think that was going to happen, but as you can see, you can actually force that attack to run into him, and it deals a lot of damage if it does. So, a very handy way to end the fight, I've got to say. Nice! That's actually a while since I've done that, because that thing tries to follow you, he tries to avoid you. As you may imagine, both of those things combine to make it so that you rarely get to exploit that. But his AI was apparently like, you know, I'm just going to go and collide with that. So that was very, very handy. Would have been a little better if he'd done that earlier in the fight, so I could have gotten more mileage out of it, but, you know, not going to complain at all about dealing immediate damage to end the fight early. It's a speedrun. It's time save. Can't knock that. Oh, look at the maximum multiplier of 9.9. Too bad score doesn't matter in this game. So this is the last auto-scroller that I mentioned before, the one that's actually somewhat dangerous. It also features a, not a soft lock, but a massive time waste later on in the stage, which, again, I'll just mention when I get there. Suffice it to say, you can accidentally force the auto-scroller to last longer than it's supposed to, and it has a very undesirable effect on your pace. And I need to actually be careful here. Okay, we've got a health pickup. So I'm going to stop now just charging around everywhere and actually focus on staying alive and dispatching enemies as they come up, because we also get some cloaked, invisible enemies that can be quite awkward to deal with. As well as this guy, and many others of his ilk. There they are, alright. Yeah, they'll get you. They have killed me before when I wasn't expecting it, and it costs a surprising amount of time to take a death, especially if you haven't just reached a checkpoint. Alright, we should be good now. I should have a checkpoint coming up any minute. There we go. So if I were to take a death now, I wouldn't care as much, since deaths simply drop you off at the last checkpoint. It doesn't even really make a difference to timing runs of this game either, because this game runs by IGT. As you can see, as I've mentioned before, there's the in-game timer in the top center. That tracks all of your levels accurately, it adds up all of your levels accurately, and it also doesn't restart to an earlier point when you take a death and restart from a checkpoint, so it even takes deaths into account. So, in other words, using splits on this game is purely just for aesthetic purposes, and so that the viewers can keep up with the pace of the run. As far as measuring how long the run took, there is absolutely no effort required on the runner's part. You start the run, you finish the run, and then you look at the cumulative time that the game gives you at the end of the run. That is the time of your run, which is very convenient. It's very necessary as well to use IGT for this game, since I mentioned before as well that I'm running on PC version, but the original release of this game was on XBLA. As you could imagine, the Xbox version has very slow loading times in comparison to the PC version, and there is simply no reason to make it so that, oh, you must run the game on PC because it's the only competitive platform because of loading times. The game has a perfectly good IGT system, which is accurate and can't really make mistakes on its own, so why even measure by RTA when the only difference is loads? So this is where we could have wasted a lot of time. If I'm hard up against the right, the nose of that ship, as it comes into view there, and I destroy it too quickly, the part there where the camera view panned out and then zoomed forward, that doesn't occur. So the nose of the ship also doesn't get destroyed. So the camera keeps progressing at this snail's pace, and what's more, I get forced to the very back of the screen until the screen moving forward forces me to clip through the nose of the ship. So that's definitely not exactly intended. Either way though, we come to the penultimate stage of the game, Enslaved City. So this is the last action stage of the run. Of course I'm going to miss that as usual. Can I get the IL trick? No, not even close. So it's possible to use the momentum from that pipe to, you know, go fast, for lack of a better term. I need to use a ricochet to get up here. From the rail, preferably. This stage is surprisingly awkward. There's a lot of little skips and tricks using rails, which, for instance, this one I'm going to try to exploit. Got it, very nice. It's a little tighter than it looks because the hitboxes for rails can be surprisingly deceptive. And screw this puzzle, let's go up the other side. So now, time switch puzzles. These are always fun in video games. I need to use a lot of boost cancelling and a lot of careful ricochets here, and I've already missed it. Oh yeah, because I shouldn't have cancelled that boost, that's fine. Just made that. I don't really need that health, it's not too important. Yeah, I was always going to take damage there. And that. Alright, I've got decent health for this combat section. I'm going to stop to get this health in. Just for safety's sake, even though there's a checkpoint here. I just don't want to deal with having low health for the combat sections that are coming up. Teach, please. Ah! Estimating flight paths can be a bit awkward. Alright, that was a decent kill. That guy tries to continually move back from you as you go towards him, but you can keep up with his pace and just keep dealing hits to him as he's moving. And the ships, extra ships coming along here are triggered by finishing the combat wave, so you do need to dispatch the enemies as quickly as possible in order to go fast. Alright, one more enemy. Alright, that's the last stage, main stage over at least. So now we come to the final boss of the game. Just like Wolf King, this is once again RNG hell. I need to wait for him to come into the foreground 3 times, and it's entirely random whether or not he chooses to do so. Yep, that's a not foreground action. Another one. Yeah, this is entirely RNG, I've got no control over this. So I need 2 more of those, which then causes this robot to malfunction. And the main boss, General Schweinhardt, comes out of the mech, and I can hopefully get... Oh, this RNG, jeez. I will hopefully be able to get a 1-cycle fight, which involves forcing him to fall into the electrified parts of the robot. And once his health bar is completely drained, I deal 1 final hit to him with the sword, and that marks time, because that's when the in-game timer stops for the last stage. So I will call time out once I hopefully finish this 1 cycle. Hubris, I'm not going to do it. No, good start. I'll deal with that. This is actually quite a precise positional setup that I'm using. It really matters the specific spots that I'm standing to be able to get these hits. And standing underneath this platform is a little more consistent since it serves as a shield from time. Yeah, I called that quite suddenly, sorry about that, but I ended up getting the boss finished a little faster than I anticipated. But yeah, that is time, and let's see what the cumulative time of the run is, which shows up after the score countdown. IGT world record is 32:09. This wasn't a particularly good run though, so yeah, 33:23. So that was about a minute 15 away from world record. A decent run, but it was kind of sloppy because of how out of practice I was. Though there were no major disasters, I showed off all the major stuff in the game. So overall, I'm fairly happy with that run. Not a patch on the Sparkster run that I did before, but still a decent run overall. And I'd like to give a quick thanks to the organisers of this marathon for putting it on, giving me a chance to run here. It's been great. This has been a great marathon so far, and I hope all the runners after me have a great time as well and showcase some awesome runs.
Yeah, thanks for running.
Yeah, not a problem. It was a lot of fun. Could have done a little bit of a better job on that run, but it was still decent, so I won't complain about it too much. So what run do we have coming up next?
Up next, we have Dishonored by that Kappa though, or CV Hanky. And that is Knife of Dunwall and Bridgemore Witches DLC. Which,
Right.
honestly, I don't know what that means, but it should be a good watch.
I think I've heard of it, so I'm certainly going to try and stick around and watch a bit of it. That said, it is very late for me here. It's currently 8 AM and I haven't slept tonight, so I will need to go to bed shortly, but I'll try and stick around and see what's up. So thanks once again to the organisers, and I will sign off and let you progress if you would like.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Alright, no problem. So thanks for watching, people, and make sure to stick around for all the future runs. And I will